Hi, everyone. This video is going to be more on the educational side, and I want to talk about Google Analytics yet again, and especially the migration to GA4. At the time of this recording, this is mid-April 2023, and we have only a couple of months left until Universal Analytics will be completely gone and will stop working. So now this is the final moments when we all have to be working with GA4. So what I want to talk about today, what I think is probably one of the most useful reports to look at in GA4, if you are very used to Universal Analytics and if you want to replicate basically your experience in terms of what is traffic acquisition looking like for you. So we know about GA4 events, we know about GA4 and the differences. I will link all the relevant videos in the comments or in some corner. I'm assuming that you have GA installed and you have the goals and events set up properly, which you can also see in the other videos. First, we'll look at the Universal Analytics, and many people can be looking at different things, but the most typical for me was to go to acquisition, all traffic, and then go to, let's say, source medium. And if you have some things mapped out through UTMs, or basically you have the all the splits of what happened to your website, and you have either the goals or the conversion, or the conversions if it's e-commerce. You can see them, you can see the conversion rates, and you can see basically which channel brought you which number of conversions, basically last kind of non-direct click based the way that Google Analytics attributes that. So this was something that was not that obvious for me when I first saw GA4, because GA4 is very much based around events happening on the website and not about where does the traffic come from, which is basically fine because of moving away from cookies. But there is a report that I want to show you, which is also available. And I think if you are very used to looking at your traffic sources and basically which traffic sources are bringing any conversions to the website, this might be a useful report to look at. Again, assuming that you have the goals and events set up for GA4, we need to go to reports. Here we go to acquisition and traffic acquisition. And all we need is actually the table down below. For me, somehow it seems that the tables in GA4 look somewhat less attractive than in Universal Analytics. This is the closest type of report that we can get to what we used to see in Universal Analytics. By default, you have the default channel group selection, but you can actually switch that to, let's say, session source medium, and you'll be looking at the sessions that were brought by channels, which is a very much alike that we saw in Universal Analytics. And then we see the users, the sessions, engaged sessions. All of these definitions are slightly different from what we worked with, but the numbers are directionally comparable. And then if we go to the right-hand side, we actually can see that we have events and conversions, where that's exactly what it says. Events is all the events that are being sent to GA4, and this is where it's cooler than GA Universal Analytics, because it is very flexible and it can be all sorts of events. So you can select, let's say we have like a Calendly view event where the users would look into a scheduling page, and the conversions is actually what you set up as conversions, where by default it shows all events, which makes very little sense if you have different types of conversions and you have no idea what that means. But if you actually set up, let's say we have a Calendly scheduled event, which is exactly like the success of the Calendly setting, this is where we see that event, and we can see which channels are bringing which events, which, like for this example, that makes sense because there's like some paid ads running. So this is it. I think this one report brings the most close experience to what we had in Universal Analytics. And if you want to see really quickly inside Google Analytics, basically how you're doing across different channels, this is the go-to report, in my opinion. I think it can be worth doing more complex analytics if you have like a more complex structure of what's happening, and that could be done by just exporting all the events from GA4 to BigQuery, let's say, and then process it there. And this is like a whole different topic. But the very simple way, like one step forward from looking just in the ad management interfaces, one step forward from that would be like this report in GA4. Let me know in the comments if you agree, or if you especially don't agree with me. And if you have any specific topics that you want to hear about, just also let us know so that I can work on that. See ya.